Welcome to Patty's Aquatics.
Welcome to Patty's Aquatics. My name is Adam, and welcome to the fish room. Well, the fish room that's in transition, I should say. Now, if you haven't been watching my channel, I've been downsizing my fish room, but then as of late, I was kind of getting burnt out from all the YouTube videos and everything that went into it. So I decided I wanted to downsize my fish room more, and I got rid of a lot of tanks. And if you can't tell, this wall here used to be my big rack that I had four 29 gallons on. I can show some pictures of it, but this is where it was originally, and it's empty now. Now it's just a plain wall. I got my banner up there. I got my desk against the wall. But like I said in that last video, I did not plan on getting rid of any fish or any plants, and I did not. I consolidated them all within a few of my tanks and created community tanks. Now, I'll give you guys a full fish room tour eventually here in the coming weeks. I still got a few things I want to shore up within my fish room here and tidy up and make things a little nicer for myself, and I'll show you everything when it's completely finished. But you would have last week seen my river tank finally, at least the beginning stages of it, about 5 months ago when I first set it up, and how I built it and everything along that lines. Now there's a lot more that has changed in it since then, and I will show you that in an upcoming video as well. But today I really want to talk about this tank behind me. This is my 20 long. This is the one that was originally a dirted tank for many years, and I tore it down and I started over. Now I want to show you exactly what I did with it, because if you know last week's video, if you watched that with my river tank, I also used an undergravel filter from Aquarium Co-op. I put the same thing in here, and well, instead of me rambling, how about I just turn this camera around and we'll talk, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so this is my 20 long, the new look of the 20 long. Like I said, this was originally my dirted tank. I set this up with a dirted tank over 5 years ago, and it was like that for its longevity until recently when I decided to tear it down. And when I tore it down, I decided I want to go the exact opposite direction, and I went gravel. And then after the luck and how much I loved my river tank over here, I decided I wanted to do an undergravel filter as well. And I had leftover pieces for the undergravel filter that I had from my kit from my river tank, so I put it in here. And I put it almost the entirety of the bottom, but I only had one uplift tube left, so I placed it here, somewhat not in the middle, but not too far on the far end. The idea behind it was, at that point, I had white clouds in here, and there weren't as many plants either at that point. If I have some footage, I can show you that. I know I have a picture, and I might be able to scrounge together a few pieces of video to show you, get a little bit of what it may have looked like then. But the idea was, I had a wave maker that was up here in the corner, and I wanted water to flow this way so that any of the waste would kind of collect within the gravel on this end and could become like its main filtration point. And it was working great. But then obviously, if you've been following my channel, and I said earlier in the video, I broke down more tanks and I consolidated, so the white clouds went in there. And then I put all my other fish from my other tanks and plants within here as well. So I've got my CPDs in here. I have my dwarf emerald rasboras and my gold ring danios. And I have pretty much all the other shrimp I had in my fish room in here. I've got blue shrimp, I've got cherry shrimp, I've got red rilly shrimp. So I have a smorgasbord of awesome living nano community tank here. But back to the undergravel filter. So when I set that up, the first things first is I wanted to put gravel in here, obviously, with an undergravel filter. And they got back to thinking, when I was doing my original research for my river tank, everything I was reading was telling me that I should use only aquarium gravel with undergravel filters. And that's what I did with this tank. But if you look here, do you see a difference between the two gravels? This is aquarium gravel. That's pea gravel. the aquarium gravel has a little bit more rounded edges, where the pea gravel has a little bit more rougher edges. They're not as polished, but I don't see a difference pretty much in size. They're pretty close. The pea gravel might be a tad bit bigger, not by much, but the huge difference is cost. Like I said in that other video, that pea gravel, or excuse me, that aquarium gravel was like $25 a bag, so it's almost $1 a pound. Where pea gravel, you can get a bag for about like $3 or $4 at your local hardware store. So I went with pea gravel in here, and I've really, at this point, have seen no difference with either. So I'll be curious to see the difference between that long term, but as of right now, I see no difference between either. So yeah, so the Aquarium Co-Op Undergravel Filter has been doing great. I had crazy plant growth, especially in my river tank, and in this one, I didn't have a lot of plants in here. Like I said before, I put a lot of these in within the last month, so it'll be fun to watch going forward to see how they grow in here, especially this little sword that I put in here. So the plants themselves, like I said, they're all consolidated from my other tanks as well. I got a lot of stem plants and Anibius. I got my Dorsage in the back. Got some Boost Philandra on my plant, or on that piece of wood and the rocks. This dwarf hairgrass I put in here that I had in a 10-gallon tank. I'd be really interested to see if I can get this to take off and maybe start to, ideally I would love it if it kind of filled in all in here, and I could trim that down some and make it look really cool. I mean, that's long term, I'm hoping happens, but we'll see what happens. I do fertilize this tank, but that's one thing I haven't been doing with like swords or crypts. I don't put root tabs in them anymore because of that flow that comes down through the substrate. I just been using Easy Green liquid fertilizer, and that's been working really well, especially in my river tank, which I can show you guys at some point here. I've got some crypts in there that melted when I first put them in there, but they grew back so fast, and all I've been using is liquid fertilizer in that tank and this one, and they are thriving. So really excited to kind of see the outcome long term. And I don't know if I mentioned it yet, I probably have, but I do plan on making lots of videos when it comes to the inner workings of these undergravel filters and everything surrounding them in the future. Like I said, Corey put out a video a couple weeks ago about how undergravel filters are, it's something in the hobby that kind of gets discarded, and it's got like almost a stain to it when people talk about them, and I don't believe it should be that way either. I think these are an awesome filtration idea. It's they're hugely beneficial, and they work, guys. They really do. If you run gravel, I mean, why not put a filter underneath it? If you're just setting up a tank, undergravel filter, put a plate underneath it. I mean, yeah, if you're doing sand or dirt, it's a little harder to do that. I have seen people online use them with them. I seen one guy, I can't remember what his channel was called, but he had like that black mesh material you would use out in landscaping that you would put under your mulch so weeds wouldn't come up. He put that on top of the plate, and then he put his dirt and his sand on top of that, and he was having very good luck, it looked like, with plants growing. I don't know how that would work with clogging and stuff in long term, but I mean, it's interesting all the ideas that you could do with these undergravel filters, and I'm really curious to see how this does long term. And like I said, I'm going to keep showing all that. But as far as this tank goes itself, I'm very much in love with it. Like I said, if you watched that video last week with my river tank, it was my dream tank, putting that together. It was everything I wanted. I'm so fascinated by it. I absolutely love it. It was one of my favorite scapes I ever did. Well, I can't lie. After I put all these plants in here, this tank is right up there with it for me. I absolutely love it. I'll sit here in my chair and sit back and just watch these two tanks, you know. I just sit there and I can just sit here forever with my eyes in them, just watching these fish dart around and move around within the plants and the shrimp. And there's quite a few fish in here. I just turned the lights on probably 20 minutes ago, so they're just starting to get a little unskittish and come back out. But you know, breeding wise with these guys as well. Now, I know I used to keep them all in species only tanks, where now obviously this is a community tank. I got them all together. The CPDs and those dwarf emerald rasboras, they can interbreed within here, and I'm okay with that. If I do want to breed them individually, I will take some of them out of here like I used to do in my other tanks, and I did keep my little 5-gallon tank that I used to breed my CPDs in that in, that I had that little false bottom little piece of grate that I had videos on. So I will be using that if I want to, but my thing is I'm really not breeding to sell fish anymore. I breed just only to replenish my supplies within, or my fish within my tanks. The fish that I love, and that's why I like my rainbow shiners. Eventually I want to get them trying to breed so I can do the same. But yeah, these fish are very cool. Those gold ring danios, oh my gosh. Those things were, not only are they cool, but I swear they're like suicide bombers when you try to move them from tanks. I had such the hardest time. I had 12 of them, and when I tried to move them from that 10-gallon into here, they like dive bomb into the gravel and they bury themselves. And then I lost a couple of them. I don't know whatever happened to them, if they buried themselves and they wound up killing themselves in the gravel and dying. I'm not sure, which sucks. So I don't ever want to move those guys again. But they are absolutely stunning fish. The CPDs in here, those emerald, dwarf emerald rasboras that are in here too. They're just starting to get a little color. I don't know where any are in here right now. They all, like I said, there's one right there in the back. The males get a really magnificent blue color when they get fired up, so I'm really excited to see that happen eventually. And I've got a few really nice, cool male CPDs in here as well that really are fire up and that are really colorful. And then all the shrimp, like I said too. I'm excited to see, like I've had a tank where I've had my cherry shrimp and my blue dream shrimp together, and I had a few intermixed together that had, they're kind of more of a brownish color, but you could see like a reddish purpley hue to them, which is kind of cool. So I'm kind of curious to see if these guys start breeding in here, what they'll come up with. Again, like I said, I've never culled shrimp. I keep them all. I mean, they have a purpose in my tank. They're for cleaning, they're for show, they're for fun. I just like watching them move around in tanks. And that's what it's going to continue to be going forward. Like here I got a pregnant female, it looks like right there, with a bunch of eggs on her belly. Cleaning my piece of spiderwood. I did notice a little bit of hair algae starting in this tank. I have a little bit in my river tank too, which I don't mind completely. It came, I think, from some of this dwarf sage I pulled from other tanks. They had it on there, but I've been using that, I don't remember what it's called now. The product I did a video on that kills black beard algae. I've been using that in here with little squirts here or there, and it seems to get rid of the hair algae, which is very nice, besides just pulling it. But anyway, like I said, the plants and the fish and the shrimp and the setup and the undergravel filter, everything together, this has really turned out to be one of my favorite tanks. This and the river tank, I just, I can't get enough of looking at them. So anyway, so this is that tank now. Now that I've showed you these tanks, I can kind of go through and show you everything in this fish room down the road. And like I said, that is the plan. I will be doing a full fish room tour soon. But I also got to show you guys my summer tub that I set up that I'm still in the process of. That might be next week's video. I still got to finish that and shoot that stuff for you guys. Until then, I guess just keep putting your hands in your tanks and having fun, man, because I love my fish and I love this hobby, and being able to show you guys these tanks has kind of given me a little bit more of a spark of wanting to make more videos, which is, it's fun showing you guys stuff, and I love hearing feedback and everything about it. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated, and I hope to see you again, hopefully next week, here at Patty's Aquatics.